The strongest person in any room is not the one who holds on the tightest. It is the one who can let go the fastest. Think about the last time you suffered. Really think about it. Was it because of what happened to you, or was it because of what you refused to release? The person who didn't text back, the opportunity that slipped away, the version of your life that exists only in your head. Here is the uncomfortable truth the Stoics discovered 2,000 years ago. Pain does not come from losing things. Pain comes from gripping things that were never yours to hold. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire on earth, yet he trained himself daily to need none of it. Epictetus was born a slave, owned nothing, and became freer than the emperors of Rome. How? One skill, one art, detachment. In the next 20 minutes, you will learn the 10 laws of detachment, ancient Stoic principles that will teach you how to stop chasing, stop clinging, and stop suffering. And here is my promise to you. Law number 7 alone will change the way you see every relationship in your life. So stay until the end, because these laws build on each other, and the last one is the most powerful of all. Let's begin. Law number 1, the law of non-ownership. You own nothing, you borrow everything. The first law of detachment is the foundation of all the others. Nothing in this life belongs to you. Not your possessions, not your reputation, not your relationships, not even your own body. Everything you have is on loan. Epictetus said it plainly. Never say about anything, "I have lost it." Say instead, "I have returned it." Your car breaks down? It was returned. A friendship ends? It was returned. Even the people we love most, we do not own them. We are given time with them. And when that time ends, the universe is simply collecting what was always its own. Now, this might sound cold. It is not. It is the warmest way to live. Because when you understand that everything is borrowed, two things happen. First, you stop taking things for granted. The coffee in your hand, the person sleeping next to you, the ordinary Tuesday afternoon. Suddenly it all becomes precious, because you know it is temporary. Second, when loss comes, and it will come, it cannot destroy you. You were never the owner, you were the guest. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, practiced this constantly. He would remind himself that fortune gave him everything, and fortune could take it back by morning. He enjoyed his wealth fully, but he held it with an open hand, never a closed fist. That is the image I want you to remember, the open hand. A closed fist can hold very little, and it can receive nothing new. An open hand can hold the whole world, lightly. Ask yourself right now, what are you gripping so tightly that it has started gripping you back? Law number 2, the law of the silent exit. Detach without announcement. Here is something weak people do. They announce their detachment. I'm done with you. I don't care anymore. This is the last time. They make letting go into a performance, and a performance always has an audience, and needing an audience means you have not actually let go. The second law of detachment is this: when it is time to walk away in silence. The Stoics believed that true strength is invisible. Marcus Aurelius wrote his private journal, the Meditations, with no intention of anyone ever reading it. He did not perform his philosophy. He lived it quietly, at night, by candlelight, while the empire slept. When you detach loudly, you are still attached. Attached to being seen letting go, attached to the reaction, attached to having the last word. Real detachment has no last word. It simply stops showing up where it is not valued. Think of the sun. When clouds cover it, the sun does not argue with the clouds. It does not send the clouds a long message explaining its feelings. It simply continues being the sun, and eventually, the clouds pass, because clouds always pass. So the next time someone disrespects you, undervalues you, or takes you for granted, do not explode. Do not explain. Quietly redirect your energy back to yourself. Let your absence make the argument your words never could. Silence, the Stoics understood, is not emptiness. Silence is a full answer. Law number 3, the law of the observer. Feel the emotion. Don't become it. Most people do not have emotions. Their emotions have them. Anger arrives, and they become anger. Fear arrives, and they become fear. They are like a house with no doors. Anything can walk in and take over. The third law of detachment teaches you to build a doorway, the law of the observer. When a strong emotion rises, you take one small step back inside your own mind and you watch it. You do not say, "I am angry." You say, "Anger is here." You do not say, "I am anxious." You say, "Anxiety is visiting." This tiny shift in language creates a gap, and in that gap lives all of your power. Epictetus taught his students that it is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about events. Between the thing that happens and your reaction to it, there is a space. Animals do not have this space. They react instantly. Humans have it, but most never use it. The Stoics trained in this space like athletes. Marcus Aurelius, facing betrayal by one of his most trusted generals, wrote to himself, "The best revenge is to not be like your enemy." He observed his anger, understood it, and chose not to be commanded by it. He remained the emperor, of Rome, yes, but more importantly, of himself. Here is your practice. Today, when irritation rises, in traffic, in a conversation, in a comment section, pause and silently name it. Irritation is here. Watch how naming the storm keeps you from becoming the storm. You are not your emotions. You are the sky they pass through. Law number 4. The law of reverse effort. What you chase runs. What you release returns. Have you noticed this strange pattern in life? The desperate salesman repels customers. The clingy lover pushes people away. The person obsessed with being liked is somehow the least likable in the room. And the opposite, the calm, self-contained person, the one who genuinely does not need your approval, is magnetic. Everyone wants their attention precisely because they are not begging for anyone's. This is the fourth law, the law of reverse effort. Desperation repels. Detachment attracts. Why does this happen? Because chasing sends a signal that you believe you are not enough without the thing you are chasing. And people, opportunities, even luck itself, seem to read that signal. Neediness announces scarcity. Detachment announces abundance. The Stoics understood this without any modern psychology. Seneca observed that the man who needs least is closest to the gods, because the gods need nothing at all. The less you need from the world, the more the world seems willing to offer you. Now be careful. This law is not about pretending not to care as a manipulation trick. That is fake detachment, and people smell it instantly. Real detachment means you genuinely build a life so full, your health, your craft, your discipline, your peace, that nothing external is your oxygen anymore. You want things. You just do not need them, and that difference changes everything about how you move through the world. Stop chasing the bird. Build the garden. The birds come on their own. Law number 5. The law of the inner fortress. Retreat into yourself. Marcus Aurelius had a secret place he escaped to almost every day. It was not a palace. It was not a garden in the countryside. He wrote that people seek retreats for themselves, houses by the sea, in the mountains, but that a man can retreat into his own soul at any moment, and nowhere is there a retreat more peaceful. He called it the inner citadel, the fortress inside your own mind that no army, no insult, no disaster can breach, unless you open the gates yourself. This is the 5th law of detachment. Build your inner fortress and live from inside it. Here is what that means practically. The outside world is a battlefield of opinions, comparisons, noise, and chaos. If your peace depends on that world behaving properly, on people being fair, on traffic moving, on plans working out, then your peace will be destroyed daily. You have built your house on a battlefield. But if your peace lives inside the fortress, in your values, your discipline, your judgment, then the battle can rage outside all at once. Insults hit the walls and fall. Criticism hits the walls and falls. Bad news shakes the gates but never enters, because you decide what enters. Epictetus put it in one devastating sentence. If someone handed your body to any stranger on the street, you would be furious. Yet you hand your mind to anyone who insults you, and let them disturb it for free. Stop giving away the keys. Every morning, before you touch your phone, spend 2 minutes inside the fortress. Breathe. Remember what you control. Remember who you are. Then open the gates on your terms. You are halfway through these laws now, and the next one is where detachment stops being a concept and becomes a superpower. Law number 6. The law of impermanence. This too shall pass. All of it. Look around the room you are in right now. Everything you see, the walls, the furniture, the device you are watching this on, in 100 years, most of it will be dust. The problems that kept you awake last night? In 5 years you will struggle to remember them. The empire Marcus Aurelius ruled, the most powerful force on the planet? Gone. Ruins that tourists photograph. The 6th law of detachment is the law of impermanence. Everything is temporary. And this is not depressing news. It is liberating news. The Stoics meditated on impermanence deliberately. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself how quickly all things vanish. Bodies into the earth, memories into time. Why would an emperor do this to himself? Because impermanence is the ultimate detachment teacher. When you deeply understand that everything passes, 2 chains break at once. The first chain is grief over bad times, because bad times are temporary. The failure, the heartbreak, the embarrassment, they are already dissolving. Time is carrying them away as you watch this video. The second chain is anxiety over good times, the fear of losing what you have. When you accept that loss is guaranteed, you stop wasting the present moment worrying about the future one. Here is the practice the Stoics used, and I will be honest, it is intense. It is called negative visualization. Once a day, briefly imagine losing something you love, your job, your health, a person. Do not dwell in it. Just touch it for 10 seconds, then return. What happens? You return to your real life, flooded with gratitude for things you ignored yesterday. Impermanence does not make life meaningless. It makes life urgent. Everything is temporary, so love harder, work deeper, and forgive faster. Law number 7. The law of selective caring. Care deeply about few things. Be indifferent to the rest. This is the law I promised you at the beginning, the one that changes how you see every relationship, every goal, every worry in your life. Listen carefully. Detachment does not mean you care about nothing. That is not philosophy. That is depression. The Stoics were not cold, careless men. Marcus Aurelius deeply loved his children. Seneca wrote tender letters to his friends. Epictetus dedicated his life to teaching others. The 7th law is the law of selective caring, the art of choosing, deliberately, what deserves your emotional energy, and becoming genuinely indifferent to everything else. Epictetus opened his entire philosophy with one division. Some things are in our control: our judgments, our efforts, our values, our responses. Everything else is not: other people's opinions, the economy, the weather, the past, the outcome. Wisdom is caring intensely about the first category and detaching completely from the second. Most people do the exact opposite. They obsess over what strangers think, not in their control. They ignore their own character, completely in their control. They lose sleep over outcomes, not in their control. They neglect their effort, the one thing that always was. Here is the exercise that will change your week. Take the 3 things currently stressing you most. Write them down. Next to each one, ask a single question. Is this inside my control or outside it? If it is outside, a person's behavior, a decision someone else will make, something that already happened, your only rational move is detachment. Release it, the way you would drop a hot coal. If it is inside your control, then stress is not the answer either. Action is. Care like a warrior about your choices. Care like a stone about everything else. That is not coldness. That is precision. Law number 8. The law of detached action. Do the work. Release the outcome. Now, a warning, because this is where most people misunderstand detachment completely. They think detachment means passivity, not trying, sitting back and letting the universe handle it. That is not Stoicism. That is surrender wearing a costume. The 8th law is the law of detached action. Give 100% of your effort and 0% of your attachment to the result. The Stoics had a beautiful image for this: the archer. A skilled archer controls everything up until the arrow leaves the bow. The stance, the breath, the aim, the release. But the moment the arrow flies, the wind may shift. A bird may cross its path. The target may move. The archer's job was never to guarantee the hit. The archer's job was to shoot excellently. This is how you must work. Prepare for the interview completely, then walk in detached from whether they hire you. Build the business with total discipline, then detach from the timeline of its success. Love people fully, then detach from controlling how they respond. Why does this make you unstoppable? Because the person attached to outcomes is fragile. One rejection shatters them, one failure and they quit. Their fuel was the result, and the result betrayed them. But the person practicing detached action cannot lose. Their victory was in the effort itself, and effort is always available. Rejection becomes data, failure becomes training. They keep shooting arrows calmly, for years, and that is exactly why they eventually hit everything they aim at. Attached people work in fear, detached people work in freedom, and freedom, over time, beats fear every single time. Law number 9, the law of sacred solitude. Until you can sit alone, you belong to the crowd. Here is a question that reveals everything about a person. What happens when they are completely alone? No phone, no music, no people, no noise. If the answer is discomfort, restlessness, an itch to escape, then their peace is outsourced. They do not own it. The crowd owns it. The notifications own it. Other people's presence owns it. The 9th law of detachment is the law of sacred solitude. You must become someone whose own company is enough. Seneca warned his friend Lucilius about people who travel constantly, change cities, change scenery, trying to escape a discomfort that follows them everywhere. His diagnosis was brutal. You cannot run from yourself. Wherever you go, there you are. The noise you avoid in solitude is not outside you. It is inside, and solitude is simply the room where you finally hear it. And that is exactly why solitude is training, not punishment. Every great Stoic built alone time into their life, like exercise. Marcus Aurelius, with his dawn journaling. Seneca, with his evening review, asking himself, what did I do badly today? What did I do well? What did I leave undone? When you practice solitude, something profound happens to your attachments. Needy relationships lose their grip, because you no longer need people to escape yourself. You choose people to share yourself. The fear of missing out dies, because you stop believing the interesting life is always happening somewhere else, and your decisions become truly yours, made in quiet, not in the echo of the crowd. Start small, 15 minutes a day, no input, nothing entering your mind, just you, a notebook maybe, and silence. It will feel uncomfortable for a week. Then it will feel like power. The one who is complete alone can never be controlled in a crowd. Law number 10, the final letting go. Remember death and start living. We have arrived at the 10th law, the deepest one, the one the Romans whispered to their most powerful men. There is a famous story when a Roman general returned victorious, riding through the streets while the entire city roared his name. A servant was placed behind him in the chariot with one job, to lean in, again and again, and whisper, remember, you are mortal. Memento mori. Remember death. The 10th law of detachment is the final letting go, the daily remembrance that you, and everyone you know, will one day leave this world, and that this awareness is not morbid. It is the master key to every law you have heard today. Think about it. Why do we cling? Why do we chase status, hoard grudges, postpone dreams, waste years impressing people we do not even like? Because some part of us secretly believes we have unlimited time. Death feels theoretical, so we live carelessly, attached to nonsense, as if the game never ends. Marcus Aurelius shattered that illusion every morning. He told himself he could leave life right now, and to let that fact decide what he did, said, and thought today. Not someday, today. When you truly absorb this, watch what detaches from you automatically. The grudge you have carried for 3 years. Is that how you want to spend your limited heartbeats? The opinion of a stranger. Will it matter in your final hour? The dream you keep postponing. Postponing until when exactly? Death is not the enemy of life. Death is the editor of life. It cuts away everything false and leaves only what is real, your character, your love, your work, your presence in this exact moment. The Stoics did not remember death to become sad. They remembered death to become awake. And an awake human being, detached from the trivial, devoted to the essential, is the most unstoppable force on this earth. So there they are, the 10 laws of detachment. Own nothing, borrow everything, exit in silence. Observe your emotions instead of becoming them. Stop chasing, release, and let things return. Live from your inner fortress. Embrace impermanence. Care selectively, with precision. Act fully. Detach from outcomes. Master solitude. And remember death, so you finally remember life. Notice what these laws do not ask of you. They do not ask you to stop loving, stop working, or stop dreaming. They ask you to stop gripping, to trade the closed fist for the open hand. Because here is the final paradox the Stoics discovered, the one I will leave you with. The person with nothing to lose, loses nothing. The person who needs nothing, attracts everything. And the person who has let go of everything is the only one truly free to enjoy it all. Detachment is not the end of passion. It is passion, finally free of fear. Now I have one question for you, and I want you to answer it in the comments. Which of these 10 laws do you need most in your life right now? Write the number below. I read every comment, and your answer might help someone else who is struggling with the same thing. If this video gave you even one idea worth keeping, the like button costs you nothing, but it tells me to create more of this for you. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because next week's video goes even deeper. The Stoic art of being unbothered. How to become the calmest person in every room. Until then, hold everything lightly, grip nothing, and walk through this world like the Stoics did, fully engaged and completely free. Take care of your mind. It is the only thing that was ever truly yours.